Welcome to Next Topic Podcast, where the only rule is to stay on topic and no topic is off limits. Today is July the 14th, episode number 29, and we are talking about body shaming with a focus on fat shaming. My name is Lo, and I'm joined by
Todd,
Cameron,
Abel.
Yeah, and so since I already told y'all what the topic is, Rashad, do you want to begin this conversation with a definition of
fat shaming? Yes. So let's ground us in a definition of fat shaming for those out there who do not know what that is. So fat shaming is the unjust mistreatment of fat people, which may manifest as acts of bullying, singling out, discriminating, disrespecting, and or making fun of a person in a larger body. Fat shaming is a result of an individual bias against people who are deemed unhealthy, unattractive, stupid, lazy, or lacking self-control. It is a faulty interpretation based solely on a person's appearance that fatness is bad or morally wrong. And that is from Dr. Jamie Law.
So, do any of y'all, when you see someone who is overweight, do any of you think through or do some of what Rashad just mentioned as like, oh, you unhealthy or lazy, yada, 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 whatever those characteristics are? Do you guys attribute those to fat people when you see them?
I would say no. I'm like, I see fat people all the time. So me going through the whole process of my head of like, oh, they're unhealthy, will cause a lot of energy to expel, I think. So I don't actually go through that thought process like, oh, this person's fat, therefore they are unhealthy. No.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think like, oh, you do recognize if a person is larger or smaller.
Yeah, it's kind of hard not to. Like, it's like not saying like, oh, they're big, so I see them. Like, you see people and you see what they look like.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, the whole thought process of being like they're unhealthy or it's morally wrong or shit like that. Like, nah, I'm not thinking about that.
Abel?
A little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's like if I see a person that's, I don't even want to say fat, but like overweight, whatever it is. Most often than that, like some thoughts do come to my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Of like, oh, like I don't know, like as far as their diet and stuff like that. It's like quick thoughts come to my mind, but then it's like it goes away right away. But I used to be like, I guess, judgmental and kind of like have a kind of like stereotype.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the past 2 years I've kind of like I'm learning. I took a class in college called Body Positive, and I learned that actually has nothing to do with health. As far as sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So since then I've been like, all right, kind of like checking myself whenever I have those thoughts. But keeping it real, yeah, I do.
I appreciate you for telling your truth, Abel, and being honest.
That makes sense.
I'm not saying that like y'all weren't being honest. I just appreciate him being honest in that moment. Me personally, I think typically like we view the rest of the world around us just like from where we stand. So like you said, Cameron, it's like you identify people around you based off of who you are and what you look like. So you see bigger people, you see smaller people, you see shorter people, you see taller people, and it's like you can't be like, oh, I don't see. You know how people say like I don't see race or color, I don't see body
race.
Size. Yeah, you do.
I don't see fat or skinny. Bullshit.
Right. And personally, I think, oh, unhealthy, this and that. Not necessarily, but what I would say when I see people of any size, I wonder like, what is their lifestyle like? If they're hella skinny, I wonder what's your lifestyle like? You know, if they're larger, you know, much larger, I wonder what's your lifestyle like? I don't know what your lifestyle is like. I do know a lot of people struggle with weight like their whole life. Like some people are just larger than other folks their whole life. And so do I automatically place like, you know, some sort of blame on their behavior? Not necessarily.
I think like one time I do like judge people like for their weight. It's like went on them like TLC shows like My 600-Pound Life and stuff like that. That's when I'd be like, honey boo boo child. But other than like in like real life, I never think of a person's like lifestyle like based on it never crosses, like even they can be like super skinny or super fat. I just never think
So
about
you've
it
never
that
seen
much.
someone hella skinny, you'd be like, ooh, is it crack?
Not on a regular basis.
People do shit like that. Like, no, people do stuff like that. I'm not saying I think that if I see a really skinny person, but like there are instances where you hear people make comments like that, and that's attributing their weight to a certain lifestyle.
Right. I might be like, oh, they're like super skinny or super heavy, but I never like think about like what are they doing or like what are they eating to get that body type. I'm like, ooh, they skinny, or like, ooh, they fat. I just it don't.
But what is that? Ooh, they. What does that mean when you really think about it?
What does that mean? I think it's like something.
It's like, ooh, they're skinny. What happened to them? Like if I'm filling in the blanks.
See, I don't never think about what happened to them. I'm
saying like when I hear that.
Oh, see, that's something you gotta ask yourself because my brain didn't go there. I'm on to the other person standing next to them.
Like, but why are you surprised by the ooh they like?
Because because I guess like in everyone's head they got like a meter of like how skinny or how big they think people should be, and so when
should be.
Yes, should be.
Keep
Yeah.
going.
So when they fall outside of your like expectations of like what they should look like or what you deem is appropriate or inappropriate, then you'd be like, oh, ooh, they're skinny. I'm like, it could be. I think it's the same as like, ooh, they're tall to me, or like, oh, they short. It's the same thing.
It's kind of like you already put in your head what this person should look like. Like if you hear somebody talking, it's impossible for you not to already configure what they look like visually.
Cameron, I'm really glad you brought that up. So I'm gonna let you finish that point.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can I finish?
Go ahead.
Thank you. But yeah, so it's hard not to configure somebody. Like, so when you see him, it's kind of like a shock factor. And I think that's where his ooh, they comes into play. It's not like he's expecting them to be hella fat or hella skinny or hella tall, but it's like, oh, this is not what I expected. So it's surprising to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's fair. When you guys are talking to someone online or on the phone or what have you, and you don't know, let's say you don't know what they look like, do you, based on the sound of that person's voice, do you try to picture them looking a certain way, skinnier, larger, what have you? And actually, I'll wait for the and part. You do.
Yeah, I think.
What do you normally like? When you're talking to someone that you find attractive based on their personality and this and that, do you normally think like, what do they look like?
I don't think we think like, oh, they're skinnier, oh, they're fatter, oh, they're curvier, oh, they're super thin. Like, it kind of just like once you hear their voice, your brain kind of just makes up something for you automatically. It's not like a thought process. Like you're building a bear. You feel me? Like
no. But what does your brain make up? That's what I'm asking.
It's different for every person. So I can't tell you.
Can't. It depends on the voice. And like certain attributes can make you think a person's bigger or smaller. Like we're keeping it real. If you're on the phone with somebody and they're like breathing heavily, you're like, oh, this person might be bigger. If I'm being honest.
It's either that or a medical condition, but you don't think medical condition first.
Right. I won't want to wish that upon nobody. Like, what kind of medical condition?
I mean, it happens.
So I asked that because now I'm wondering, and I bring this up because Cameron, you mentioned this, I believe, in a previous podcast. So let's say you're talking to someone and they show up and they're big. They're
a little bowling ball.
Yes, you said that, and that they're a lot, but you like them. You know, you like their personality. You like what they were bringing to the table. Now they're.
I'm like, let's say big people got the best personalities. I'm like, of course, big people got the best personalities.
Okay, we could talk about that too, but they're much bigger than you would have expected or what your mind painted for you. Now what?
Now, I mean, yes, it's still a shock factor because I was expecting something, but I can't put that on them because that was something that I made up on myself. So
yeah, but how do you?
So if we already had this connection, we're talking, and you know I fuck with you and you fuck with me, then we got to move past the physical attraction and really move forward with our connection emotionally and spiritually and figure out what goes from there. Because at that point, if you're bigger than what I expected or smaller than that shit can be changed.
Absolutely. I agree with that. And that's the appropriate thing to do.
So that's why like when you think of somebody in your head, that shit is easily to get over. Like, okay, my brain made this shit up. That ain't what it is. Move on. Let's go.
Isn't easy though, because, and I hate to kind of like step away from fat shaming and body shaming for a second here, but a lot of people are like, oh, that's just my preference. I don't date dark-skinned men or women, or I don't date this and that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, do y'all really think it's easy for people to get past someone's weight? I've seen it. You know, I've seen couples like work together and, you know, to achieve whatever their lifestyle goals are. And I think it's beautiful, but you don't always see that. And some people are really put off, you know.
I think it's hard. Especially when you first initially meet somebody.
Right, because people say like first impression is like, that's really important.
Yeah.
I think it's based on an individual's security or insecurity. Because like,
which person?
Like the person who, like, the skinnier, or the person that's not the big one, the one that's like, that can't get over it. Like, say for instance, she said it's hard to get over. Is it hard to get over this? For me, I can say no. Only because one, I'm a big dude. I used to be a smaller dude. Like, my weight fluctuates. So that's something that I understand. But then also, as when I was younger, my preference, I didn't like black women. And I think I've said that before. But my preference is different now. So, I mean, it's something that I know that you can get over. Something that you can grow from or grow to, or whatever the case may be. So, yeah, I think it's just based off the individual.
Yeah, I just think I think like when you're like first meeting somebody, I think it's harder to get like over that, because like once, like if you're already in a relationship for a minute now, then one person get like bigger or smaller, and that I think that love connection is already there. Then
exactly
initially, but I think
wait, let me clear this up. When I said I didn't like black women, I meant I wasn't attracted to them. I don't want nobody going back and say, "Well, you said you didn't like black women." Okay.
See, and then I think that's another really good conversation to get into, but I didn't mean to to go there, but I was just trying to kind of connect the dots and whatever. Roshan.
Okay. So so this topic for us has come up because in the past year or 2 years or so, like Lizzo has become like very popular in the music industry. She has won several Grammys at this point, and a lot of people have body shamed her because of like her body positivity and how she chooses to like express her body over the various social media platforms and in public and things like that. So like some examples of that is like, you know, Jillian Michaels, who pretty much went on the radio and said that, we should like celebrate Lizzo for her music and things like that, and not her body. Because, you know, we don't want to like celebrate like diabetes and like arteries and like blood clots and things like that. And she came back on radio a couple of days later and like said, stood firm on what she
doubled down.
Yeah, she doubled down. She said, no, I said what I said. Then also you got the situations like where when Diddy and his children, it was like Thanksgiving.
Oh.
When it was on like live, and it was inviting people in, you know, dancing and singing and stuff like that. You know, Lizzo comes in, you know, Lizzo is twerking. You know, Diddy's like, we ain't doing all that. This is a family show. But then Dre come on and basically doing the same thing, and it's like nothing said about it. And then you got Lizzo at the Lakers basketball game, cakes out. And, you know, and some people were debating was like, if this was somebody else, and then like a smaller body, no one would say anything. And some people on the other side was like, oh, you know, it's just generally inappropriate on all fronts. So I would like for us to like dive into there and try to figure out like, if like Lizzo, you think Lizzo's promoting like, you know, body positivity, or some people would say, is she like promoting an unhealthy lifestyle? Cool.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
So, go ahead, Abel.
I was going to say, like, I wouldn't say she's promoting unhealthy lifestyle, because that comes off as like you're already saying she's unhealthy because she's big, if that makes sense. You don't know she's unhealthy. She could be really healthy, like, and she just has that kind of body. That's how it sounds to me. But is she spreading body positivity? I think she advocates for for people, for women specifically that have big bodies to get like representation and stuff like that. So I would say so. And she's like really not apologetic about it, obviously, like even at the Laker game and stuff like that. So I would say I would lean more towards she's advocating for body positivity than advocating for like unhealthy lifestyle. But it just, people for sure, it's just like you see the stereotypes come out. Like I for sure think if it was like a slim model, probably like a thick model or whatever, it would have been a different kind of situation. People would have liked seeing that, I feel like, than seeing Lizzo's body, because it's real. Like people really are not attracted, I feel like, the majority of, because of conditioning. People are not attracted, I feel like, to bigger bodies, I think.
I agree with what you said, Abel, about like her not promoting an unhealthy lifestyle, because like from what I've seen on her Instagram page and whatnot, like she doesn't, it's not like she's promoting McDonald's and like all kind of stuff like that. Like when you see her, she's having a good time, she's shaking her ass, which if you've ever twerked before and done all that stuff, that's a workout in itself. Like she's posted videos of her
that is a workout.
She's posted videos of herself. She's posted videos of herself like working out too. And like from what I see, like I've said this before to people, it's like your body size does not equate to how fit you are. Like fitness does not, it's not based off your body size.
Weight is not synonymous with health.
No. And so like, I mean, I like you, Cameron, like my weight has fluctuated before and it still continues to fluctuate. Huh?
Oprah.
Just like,
come on, Oprah.
No. And throughout those fluctuations, at certain points in time, I've been way fitter than I would say I am now, or, you know what I mean? So I think Lizzo, what she does promote, I would say, is that it seems as though she's comfortable in her skin, and she's telling other people like, hey, be comfortable in your skin and work with whatever it is that you got, whether you got a flat ass or, you know what I mean? No matter what sort of, issues people might have, like general, like pop culture says like you should have a super skinny waist and like a big butt, skinny legs, big boobs, all these different things. And no one really looks like that. And I feel like Lizzo was helping to show like you could be popular, people can like you, you could be good at what you do, and you don't have to look like one cookie cutter thing.
So what do y'all think? I think
you have nothing to say.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I'm like, everyone said something to you.
I mean, you didn't say nothing either. But I mean, I'm gonna say something about the Lizzo outfit at the Laker game.
Yes, please.
Like, first of all, it was definitely a shock factor. She walking down the hallway in a big T-shirt with a hole in the back, booty all out.
Booty all out.
All out. That's a lot of booty to be out. Like, and at first I was like, oh, hell no, what the fuck? I ain't gonna lie. I was shocked as fuck. Big old booty walking down the hallways of the Staples Center like a girl, get it together.
It was a different big old booty, you would have been shocked.
No, but see, even if it was a shirt like that and Rihanna wore it, I just don't think
it's not a big booty.
Okay, who give me?
He's just talking about a booty, a naked booty.
I'm getting to the point where I don't think the shirt is fashionable. It's a plain black T-shirt with a hole in the back, just to show I don't think that's a fashionable shirt. And then you got to think about where you are. There's a lot of kids that go to games. Is that really appropriate, especially in a family setting? Mm-hmm.
And I agree with that, Cameron. Like, I saw it and was like, why? You know what I mean? A basketball game?
I think it was more fashionable, but it was a black T-shirt with a hole in the butt.
Right.
I could go get a pro club and put a hole in the butt and sell them if that's the case.
People sell way uglier stuff than that. So yes, you can do that.
How did the two of you feel about it? I agree with Cameron.
For once. I didn't honestly think nothing of it that much until like people were like upset about like why would Lizzo do this. I'm like, to me, like a whole bunch of shit always happened at basketball games, so I wasn't thinking. I'm like,
You don't expect to see nudity at a basketball game.
Oh,
Like
well,
her bare booty was out.
like I honestly really didn't think nothing of it. I really didn't. I really did. I'm like, I was like, I guess I didn't think of it as like being at specifically at a basketball game. I know we got a whole bunch of like whores and jump offs at basketball games anyway. So then I was like, I wasn't really thinking much about it. I'm like, it's way more inappropriate stuff going on the basketball games and stuff like that. But she just was just out there like that. So I really wasn't thinking much of it. And people like, oh, it's children there. And think it's children everywhere. I'm like, anywhere you go, there'll be a whole bunch of children. I'm like, so.
Right, but you know for a fact children are going to be at the game. There's difference if you just going somewhere, like if you go to Wingstop and have it on, you don't know that kids are going to be there. You know kids are going to be at a basketball game.
Right. But what I think the main part is like my whole thing about the whole situation is that like I think it wouldn't have been a conversation like this if Lizzo was thinner. I don't think the conversation would have went this far.
See, and so now that makes me,
I said probably not, because there wouldn't have been as big of a shock factor because her butt is humongous. Like she has a big booty. So the fact that it's a big booty you just see versus a little booty, it's automatically gonna create more of an uproar, because like even if it was Nicki Minaj, I think it would have went this far just because it's a fat ass, so it's a shock factor versus a little butt.
I have a question. Do y'all think that like certain things or topics just like can't be touched when it's a larger person doing it? So in the case of Lizzo, and we're talking about how inappropriate we felt her outfit was, do you feel like you don't have room to like express that because of the fact that people will automatically assume you're fat shaming?
No.
I do.
You said no?
I mean, I feel comfortable saying it, but I do think that making a comment about a larger person, automatically people assume like you're fat shaming. You're only saying that because they're bigger.
Yeah.
Right.
But the way I feel about her outfit in that context, I would have felt about it was anyone. That's doing too, I feel like it's doing too much. It's not, why would Lizzo do that? Why would anyone do that for me?
Yeah, for you. But I'm talking about in the grand scheme of society and you know how it works.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
I don't think it would have been such a big deal if someone else would have did it.
It's the same reason why people freak out when she does shit on her own Instagram. She's posting pictures in lingerie on her Instagram and people are upset about it. Why would she do this? I'm sick of seeing her do that. However, people have been making similar comments now about like Meg Thee Stallion. Why is she always twerking? We always see this, da 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 da. And Meg's no skinny girl, but she's also not Lizzo size, and so it makes you wonder. Like people have, I
said that baby a stallion. I love.
Is the issue their size? Is the issue that they're Black women? Because let's be real here, there are lots of other women on social media doing similar things, Kardashians, and I can't say that they get the same flack that they do.
Right. No, I understand what you're saying. Like I don't know what I think it can be all the above. It can be attributed to them being Black women, to them being like, I wouldn't like necessarily call like Megan a big girl to me. Like
she's
I'm
big,
like,
though.
She's tall too. So so like I wouldn't like necessarily like, oh, like I'm like, oh, Megan's a big girl. Like that wouldn't be like something I would say.
The way you said that.
You know, Megan is always twerking. I'm like, like it's just okay.
Yeah, I think it's like what Rashad said, all of the above. I think it's like it's so many different things. Like, one, you're a Black woman. 2, all you do is twerk. 3, show that there's more of you instead of this. You know what I mean? Like, it can be attributed to a bunch of different things, not so much just, oh, you just naked all the time. You know what I mean?
In Meg's case, Little's different to me.
Right. Oh, absolutely. But in this case, for instance, it's like, especially with the way the world is shaped right now and what we're going through, it's like, show that as a Black woman that you're more than just this.
Meg.
But what I struggle with that sort of thinking is the fact that oftentimes Black people, like Black women, we are more than just that. But if we do a certain thing, people only associate us with just that. They don't see us as more. Whereas, let's say someone else is doing a certain thing a lot, they're automatically assumed to be more than that. You know what I mean?
And that's the challenge that Black women have to face. And that's,
alone.
That's right. I mean, I'm not saying alone because I mean, yeah.
No, I'm saying alone because of the fact that, I mean, this is what we've been talking about, how Black women will often fight for everyone else, but we don't have no one else fighting for Black women.
So how do we fight for y'all in that instance? Because it's not something that we like us three.
Sorry, I don't want to start talking about Black women. That was my fault because that
I know every conversation we have, we can talk about lamps, but it's like Black women carry our lamps. But that's like every conversation we have to like this Black woman and out here being a hero. We
talked about it. We haven't talked about it yet, but my bad. What I wanted, so bringing it back to body shaming, fat shaming, and like us personally, have any of y'all dated anyone larger than you?
No.
I haven't. Abel?
No.
Now, next question.
Abel, you weigh like 2 pounds, nigga. Everybody weigh more than you.
I'm like, you gotta be looking hard, Abel, find someone smaller than you, child.
I was gonna lie and be like, I've dated a girl that was 100 more pounds than me, but I was like, y'all gonna catch on to that. But nah. Actually, yeah, the person weighted more than me, but it wasn't drastically. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I am a skinny person, so Cameron might be right. I feel like a lot of people are more weight, and I am tall.
Don't point to that lamp. We'll leave him alone.
Hey, you gotta be fucked up. But
don't body shame him.
I know, but we can talk about that too. Like, Abel, do you feel some of the same, I don't know, shaming that you've heard us talk about or describe big people go through as a skinnier person? Like, have you ever really been a different size? Have you been like pretty lean most of your life?
I used to be short when I was in high school. And then I got from high school to college, I got taller. So it became like evident, like, oh, you're skinny. Because when you're tall, like, obviously, yeah, right.
Not the arms. You know, lanky arms.
You said what?
You were doing a lanky arm. You know, tall and skinny. Who's lanky, child?
Yeah, but I would say this: that if I was a woman, it would have been felt more. Because I really feel like for men, it's what I genuinely feel like it's a whatever thing. Because I really don't experience people saying, "Oh, like, oh, I don't like Abel. Like, he cool, but he's skinny." Like, I really don't hear that. If that makes sense. But
people. Because what I've heard a lot, sometimes people who are skinnier, people be like, "Oh, do they eat? He must not eat. You know, is he anorexic?"
Oh, yeah.
All these sorts of things.
I heard of that before too, for sure. But I know from hearing conversations stuff, I hear a lot though, like, "Yo, she's really pretty, but damn, she's hella skinny." You know what I mean? The body is really like heavily emphasized on women, I feel like, than men. But I feel every now and then from the homies, obviously from what Cameron was talking about, I hear it for sure.
So like my question would be, can fat people body shame skinny people?
Skinny people?
Can fat people body shame skinny people?
Oh, absolutely. What?
You know,
I think so.
Great question. That takes me back to, can Black people be racist?
Exactly.
Do you guys feel like but here's another question though. Do you really feel like there's power in body shaming? Because I think that's for racism, there's obviously power in racism, which is why I say Black people cannot be racist. For body shaming, do we all think that there's power in the body shaming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in the context, there's power. So
in what context?
I would say if someone were not being offered a job based on their body size, yes,
Oh,
that sort of context, right? But I can't say that, like on the schoolyard, I feel like everyone gets it.
Well,
I
kids
do.
are evil.
I know that larger kids, they really get picked on for being fat, whatever. But everyone gets it.
But people don't make fun of skinny people.
Yeah, they do if they're
Not
dark.
as
Yeah,
much
they
as
do if
they
they have
do
acne.
as fat people. It's not the same type of like the aggressiveness and like how many jokes come their way. I don't
nah.
attribute that as like a we all get it type of situation. I'm like
Yeah,
we all might get a little bit, but I think fat people get
I'm
it.
not saying we all get it for just like rate. I mean, just for size. No, I think if you're just looking at size and you're controlling for every other factor,
Come to science.
absolutely, larger people get it much worse than everyone else.
Right, and there's power in that. I believe like I'm like we hear people say like, oh, I don't want to like deal with them because like they're fat. I'm like, I don't think like the way that skinny people are like plastered around our society. I think there is power in that. I'm like, I'm pretty sure like bigger people like lose out on jobs, and stuff like that, like models and Instagram and a whole bunch of stuff. Like it's just not what the American like ideal is. So I would say, and just like how like white is the standard, I feel as though skinny is the standard. So I think there is some inherent power in that. And I think we should call that out. And to say like, oh, it's the same for everybody.
Well, one thing that I also want to call out is the fact that like historically or like over like in previous decades and eras, like or in different places across the world, skinny is not always the standard. Sometimes being larger is a sign of wealth.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Yes,
right?
That is.
So, but we're speaking specifically about United States, present day, all that stuff. Yes, I 100% agree. It's white, Eurocentric standards of beauty, skinny, da 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 da.
See, but
Right.
well, we're equating it to just like business, professional power and shit like that. When it goes even deeper than that,
Like
I believe
preferences.
there's emotional power in that shit. Like I can say you're fat so often, so much to break you down, lower your self-esteem, and have power over everything you do.
That's true.
And that's not just with bit. I can have power over your life just by breaking you down.
That's
so
true.
that
I read a study that said that more often than not, when someone is like told or like bullied for being fat, then they actually do become obese, like because of all of that negative shaming. So I agree with your statement there, Cameron.
Right, because it makes me think of like how a lot of people like get on, Monique, the actress from like the Parkers and things like that. A lot of her stand-up and comedy skits was like, "Fuck them skinny bitches." And so like, and we thought it was funny. It's like hilarious. But if you like will reverse it, then if like a skinny girl was like, "Fuck them fat bitches," it would be like a whole different thing.
And I think that's where it comes in. Like Cameron, you're saying, like it makes you think about like racism and reverse racism.
Right. Like a skinny person
reverse fat shaming. Like what?
Reverse fat shaming. I know, like people like skinnier people do get like body shamed. Like saying,
yes, absolutely.
But I'm like, it is okay for like fat people to talk about skinny people. Like a fat person walking around like, oh, she's skinny. Yeah, look at that little skinny bitch. We be like,
that actually funny.
But if a skinny girl like, oh, she fat, you like, girl, you is mean. Why you gotta be like that? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It is that like double standard, I would say, which in my mind, like I don't stop it. I get a good key out of it.
So what are some of the like positive stereotypes you all have heard about larger people? Like you said, Roshad, of course, the big people are always like nicer or whatever.
Yeah, I love the big people are nicer. I think the big people are funnier.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm like, usually when people go through, that's why I always think like black people are like
black people are funny.
Because like once you go through a lot of trauma and a lot of bullying, like you develop a hard shell. So like when you are being like bullied for being bigger, like you gotta come up with these witty comebacks and stuff like that and let things like roll off of you, just like to deal with the trauma that you have faced.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think a lot of like bigger people are used to like funnier and nicer because they've been through a whole lot of shit that they had to deal with from these other skinny bitches. So I just think they're like funnier and, you know, nicer. I
Yeah.
won't say nicer, but like they are usually like funnier and like have great like personalities.
Personality, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, big girls got the best personalities.
I would agree. I assume the same things. And I also be assuming that, like, I don't know, I get this like comforting vibe from them. And like, so like if there's a larger Black woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just automatically like, oh, she's and older, like motherly. I feel comfortable around her.
Yeah.
I'm not saying she's a good person because we all see Ma.
Not Ma.
Yes, Ma was crazy.
I know, but
I don't think we all seen it. Y'all know Belle ain't seen shit.
Oh,
I don't think she's that.
Yeah. I know which movie y'all talking about though.
she's larger, Roshad.
I wouldn't call her larger in my head.
She's not. No, I don't see her as like big. I don't. I see her. You know what I see her as?
It's always skinny people want to make everybody big.
No.
Everybody ain't big.
I'm not making her like
Octavia
big.
Spencer,
Like,
a big gal. Not a big gal.
I didn't say all that.
She well rounded. There you go.
As an actress, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know if I would say that either.
You call that bitch
my point was that I do feel some of the similar ways that you do, Roshad, around people who are larger than me.
Right. And it is to be noted that like when people are like bullied like for their size and stuff like that, they do develop or could develop eating disorder and things like that.
Yes.
So like as we like joke around and like talk about it and stuff like that, and like in some areas, in some circles, like 4 of us aren't like considered big people. In some circles, like some of us may be considered big.
I'm big, baby.
I know, but I don't think people walk down the street like, oh, that nigga fat. I would
say, yeah, Cameron, you are big, but I would say you're just like all around big. Right. I don't see you as like big.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I lost a couple little LBs back in my day. So I understand.
I'm about to throw that picture in here.
Don't you throw that picture in there. I'm like, it'd be the last podcast we ever have. I'm like, you know. But on like a more serious note, what you were saying, like people do develop eating disorders, like going like fasting, like dieting, anorexia, bulimia, because of like body shaming that they go through. So there are like websites of like DoSomething.org that people can go through and have like helpful links for people to go to, like if they are experienced that, because only like.
And we will insert the link.
Oh, I just said it out loud, so you didn't have to insert the link. Everybody know about DoSomething.org is like very helpful for a wide array of different things that you could be experiencing in your life. So I just like wanted to like call that out as well, because people do go through a lot, especially in like high school with some like stats that like 95% of women get like, you know, comments and things made about their body. And a lot of those, like a quarter of those develop into like eating disorders, whether they're larger or skinnier. And also like they also say like based on how much reality TV a person watches can like develop eating disorders in people too as well, because like their body type isn't represented out there in the media as being positive. So it is great that we should like call that out, and for like anyone who's going through anything with their body, low self-esteem, because anybody of any like weight or size goes through like self-esteem issues.
Agreed. Well said, Roshad.
Thank you.
Well said.
Well,
do what you like.
Well, I would say I hope everyone just like continues to grow to love themselves. You know, learn more about yourself and work with what you got. I mean, because we all working with something totally different. And
just be healthy, no matter what size that is.
Yeah. And follow your doctor's orders. Sometimes you don't want to listen to every doctor. Get second opinions, but like do what's healthy for you. Continue to follow us and like, subscribe, all that stuff. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram, YouTube. I think I might have said Instagram twice. Follow me at Cool Keys on Instagram, COOLKEYES.
You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Shads_space. That's SHADS_A. You mess me up, camera. SPACE. If you scroll down far enough on Instagram, you can see pictures of me being large and in charge, child.
Yes.
Because I am good with myself.
He was real in charge.
Like you in charge. Come on.
Hey, you get me? I know I'm big. I represent that well.
Your next shirt should be "Fat Women Always Matter."
Oh yeah, so this is not even my shirt. This is For Girls merch. I'm gonna put that on there. But yeah, they got like 3 different shirts, but I fuck with this one, so I was like, let me go ahead and buy that. It's $25. You know, I love
it's a good price.
It is. It's a good, and it's a good quality shirt. It's embroidered, so you know it's not that press on. Like it's
nice.
It's really good quality. So I was like, you know, let me do what I can to support my people, and I do everything I can to support Black women because God knows Black men don't do it. But you can follow me everywhere on all platforms at Clicks by Cam, KLICK. You fucked me up, no shot. KLICKSBYKAM.
Hey, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at AbbyRuss, ABIIRUSS.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, clink that link.
Clink that link.
Clink that link.
Clink that link into the loop.
There.